Hey everyone, welcome to another video review. This is the Transformers Legacy Evolution Leader Class Prime Universe Skyquake. We can see him there. We'll go ahead and put him off to the side real quick because, yes, we're going to look at this box, which he has a nice bit of artwork there, Legacy Evolution, all that stuff. You know, him front and center in his robot mode and his jet mode right there and Transformers and all that stuff. On the top, of course, you have the Legacy Evolution and the QR code if you want to, see the tech specs. On this side, you have the jet mode up close and a up close shot of his robot mode. On this side, of course, you have the line-wide artwork, if you want. On the bottom, you have what's included and some copyrights. And on the back, of course, you have some product shots and warnings. And, of course, the Evo Fusion and, of course, a little other thing, which we'll get into that. You also have instructions, which are... something weird happened because it seems like the instructions might actually be based on an earlier version of the toy before it was finalized, because there's definitely some misleading bits in here which lead to, if you follow the instructions, you'll get a very floppy robot mode. So there you go. That's what's included. Well, beyond the figure itself. Anyway, you have Skyquake. And yeah, Skyquake is a green jet thingy with lots of red detailing. You can see, yeah, and of course he comes back in his vehicle mode, which thank goodness, I love that. Yeah, you can see, he's got mostly greens and, some silver and reds and all that stuff. Lots of tail fins, like he's got a bunch of tail fins. He's got these little jet things and like little boosters there and thrusters and all that stuff. He does have landing gear, although it's just molded. There's no rolling anything. His cockpit is orange, translucent orange, which also can, if I can get my finger on there now, can open, and you can open. You can see there's some little seats molded in, even a little kind of, I guess, an instrument cluster of sorts, although no real detail there. Yeah, it's pretty good looking from the top here. On the bottom, you kind of have some robot bits, but actually not too bad. It cleans up fairly well, all things considered. And it's a very thick jet, you can see as well. And there you go. Pretty good looking, actually. I kind of like this one. The landing gear, of course, lets it sit like that. But he also has a couple accessories, which, he's got the gun here and this little, orange. It's a little translucent orangish. Well, I wouldn't say, I said orange, but it's more of an amber color. Yeah. Yeah. These can store in the vehicle mode. You just kind of take this thing and this will just kind of slot in right here. Right there. Like, do it upside down. Slot in here like this. Like that. And then this can peg in. There's a peg hole right there and a Thomas stage port if you want to use the flight stand. And yeah, you can plug this in right here. Although when you do this, and then that's stored nice and underneath. It's very kind of weird because now it's a little wobbly, but hey, it still stores and all that stuff. So yeah, really nice vehicle mode. It's very Prime-esque. Again, they did the whole thing with it. Kind of G1-fied it a little bit. It's a weird fusion. This one's a weird one because it's a weird fusion of Prime Skyquake and the original early 90s Skyquake, which is not weird. I think it was European G1 release, not available in the US type of thing. So it's a weird fusion of those two. But yeah, it's generally a pretty cool little jet, and it's nice, nice and easily whooshable. Yeah, real quick, another thing, of course, he can do, which is if you take these fins and just fold those down, you can take, Needle Nose here, and that was a big thing back in the day, was apparently the Predator jets. So you could take Needle Nose. I guess there might be retooling Needle Nose for a Predator at some point. He's got these slots here, and you can use those slots on these tabs. Although because this bit right here doesn't fully, you can see there's a bit of a gap, unfortunately, because they don't quality. You kind of have to do that weird thing. You're going to have to take one tab and get it in, and then get the other tab in just to, get it to play nice. But once you do. Yeah, once you do that, you can, that's the thing the Predators did before, because old Skyquake had a weird periscope gimmick that these interacted with. But yeah, you can do that if you want. I guess kind of looks a little goofy, but it's a thing, and it's not like a compromise anything to make this happen. You just had to add some tabs, so I don't mind it. It's one of those. It's kind of neat, but yeah, I'm probably not going to really do it much unless they do something later that actually interacts more than just tabbing in. So there's that. That's, I guess, a comparison in and of itself. One other comparison I want to do in this mode. I don't have the original Skyquake. Not surprising. Again, Europe only release. Not exactly easy to get. But I do have Universe King Atlas, which same old mold. So you can kind of see a bit of a size difference here, but also this one I got from a thrift store, and he's missing bits like the rear landing gear. But hey, you get an idea for size stuff, and kind of also there is a you can see the DNA, like the venting right there, and the general kind of the shape with the forward wingtips, and even the top design thing and whatnot. There you go. That's the yeah, and he kind of has to balance it because he doesn't have his rear landing gear. But yeah, there's the comparison, I guess. Although he can do this, which is still pretty cool. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the vehicle mode. I think looks pretty good overall. Now, transformation. This is where things can get a little weird. Or not necessarily weird, but this is where the instruction can lead you astray. This is where the problem is. A lot of people wrote this off as a bad figure because of, I think it's again like with Siege Ape Face. They say it's a bad figure because they got bad instructions. If there wasn't, and basically they don't understand. It's actually, those instructions are misleading. So anyway, remove the weapons to get those out of the way. Fold up the landing gear, of course, because this all folds away. Now, what you want to do here is then take these fins and push those down. You want to take these wings and untab those from the legs, right? You just want to get those untabbed. And then come down here. The legs here, we want to rotate around 180 like so, and straighten those out like this. Just get those straightened out. You know, again, rotate like that. Get it straightened out like that. Now we're done here. You want to take the feet and unfurl them, and take these bits, untab those, and rotate these around. And there's a slot here which will go over that tab right there when you rotate this up like that. And tab that in. That will fill in the gap, which is nice. Same thing. Rotates it up and around and tab that in, and it'll fill in the gap, and just leave the legs like that for now. Now up here, what you want to do is go ahead and take this bit and just kind of take these side bits and bring those out a bit, just to get that ready to go. Yeah, just bring those out like that. That's right now. Now right here, we want to take these arms. You want to take these and kind of somewhat untab them. They're kind of tabbing, but not really. But you want to take these and move them out like that, and then untab them from each other, and well, open that up like that. So, right? Now, this is the weird part. Okay, so this bit is the part where the instructions kind of lead you astray a bit. Well, first you don't want to do that. That usually doesn't happen, but yeah, it's just a clip, so it goes right back in. Anyway, this bit, what you want to do is kind of rotate this. There's multiple hinges here and rotation bits. You just kind of want to get this kind of out of the way a bit, so you can bring this down. As kind of bring it back, clear the head, and get the head out of the way. Go ahead and slide that forward. Yeah, the head slides forward. That's another thing. The instructions don't tell you anything about that, so I just slide it forward. You don't have to, but right here, this right here, when you get this right here, the instructions tell you to kind of start folding further. No, what you want to do here is actually this right here. There's a hinge inside there. You want to go ahead and bring it down on that hinge like this. So it's kind of sitting more like this. And then over here, the nose cone, and this is another bit. You want to take the nose cone, it'll come untabbed, and when you have it sitting down, you want to bring this around. This is going to be weird. What happens is you want to fold this nose cone around. It's going to cause the landing gear to kind of go up in there, and when you fold it down, it will kind of soft click into place when you do it right, like that, like that. You'll kind of feel it click into place pretty solidly. That will also separate this. You want to kind of leave that like that. When this should look like this. The instructions kind of don't really make this clear, so it's really easy. And a lot of people have taken like cutting away pieces in there. You don't have to do any sort of modification. A lot of people who are doing that are doing it unnecessarily. It does make it easier, but anyway, it does kind of swoop into place, and you kind of leave that like there, and then you go ahead and bring this down into the torso. And kind of that you have to kind of clear these kind of have to clear the arms, which is this is the one annoying bit as well. And you have to clear the arms. And clear the arms and bring this down, and just kind of get these up and up like this, just kind of up and out of the way. Bring this down like that. Now, up here or back here, we want to go ahead and take these bits and split these panels where the wings are on. You want to split these and open these up like that. Right? Then you take of course that folded weird. Yeah. Then you take the waist here. You want to rotate that 90 degrees like so, and then you take these and swing these back like that. swing back right here, and then this you go ahead and rotate it back 90 degrees, and then this right here, you slide this up. You see this on a slider right here, and this will slide up and kind of latch into the nose cone, like, slide up and latch into the nose cone like it's supposed to, like that. It'll slide up and click in, and these will kind of, there's little tabs on these which will go up in this little slot right there when you have it all the way back. These just get out of the way for now. And it goes to take the legs here and rotate those forward so that they're facing the proper way. So you can be standing, although a good chance you'll fall over a couple times because his back's kind of heavy. Now we're here. This right here is kind of weird. You want to take this and again, rotate. You want to again have these still kind of folded out. You want to rotate this 90 degrees, then take the fin here and rotate that up like that, and then bring it back down, and then rotate the fin back down. Same thing on this side. Rotate this 90 degrees, rotate the fin up, then rotate the rest of the way like that. Then you go ahead. Now this is the other part the instructions kind of leave out, which is this right here. What you want to do here is this, the canopy you want to feed through. There's a hole. When you want to bring these together, there's a hole like in here. There's a little gap here. You want to feed the canopy through the hole when you're bringing these together. And you peg them together, and that's fed through the hole. And on top of that, you bring it all up so these are all nice and sitting securely up in there as well. And that pretty much, adjust the wings as you need to, and that pretty much kind of sits like that, and it's kind of much more solid like this. Now, you go ahead and take these hinges and bring them back. Now, if you did it right, if these will, this is how far they go into the torso on this hinge right here. If it goes any further in, that means you did something wrong, and it's all going to be floaty and weird, and it's not going to be pleasant. Anyway, bring those in, and right here, what you do is you take the hands, you unfold those, and then you take this panel right here and fold it over, and this tab will go into the slot on the wrist, like so. And then you take the elbow and you just extend it out on that double hinge, and you can go ahead and bring it down right there, like so. Same thing on this side. Bring out the hand, take the panel here and fold it around, tab it in, extend out the elbow, and then bring it down like there. You're almost done. Now, what you want to take these things right here, and they're on these hinges. You want to bring them forward and over, just kind of rest them like this, and there'll be big old shoulder pads, and there you go. That is Skyquake. And yeah, this is where the kind of starts morphing way closer to the prime type of thing, although it's again really close to the I guess the how should I put it? G1-esque type of stuff too, somewhat. You'll see in a moment, but yeah. I think it's a really, really good looking robot. I mean, generally you can see up here, you can got really nice head sculpt. You've got the light piping, although it's kind of not working super well here, but he does have light piping. He's got nice silver and green there, and kind of a very stern, frowny face. He's got the big shoulders. I like big old shoulders like this, like kind of armored shoulders. I think it just looks cool. He's got this translucent chest with the Decepticon symbols. He's got the light green and the gunmetal there, and all that stuff. He's got, his arms, which have some red. You got some silver there. You got the green and the gray and more gray and so on and so forth. And he got his backpack, which, his wings and stuff, and looks pretty decent, all things considered. He's got this big old hole, and some people have convinced that this is supposed to go further forward, but it doesn't appear that that's the case. It is supposed to, in fact, sit right there, and there's this big old gap, so some people don't like, but it doesn't bother me. So anyway, I just really like how this looks overall. The couple weird things, namely his hips are weird. That there's some the some of the ratchets don't seem to be play nice. Namely the hips. I'll get into that in a little bit, but it does look really good. And the other thing is the head. I don't know if it's because the thing is, you can see that head is kind of far forward, so it looks kind of weird. But then I'll slide it back and it looks kind of more right, but then you have this big old gap right there for the slider, so I have no idea which way it's supposed to go. I suspect it's supposed to be back in the slider for a potential retool, because people have noted that if you transform his very specific way, he looks a lot more like the prime iteration, so there possibly, it might be painting him blue and so on and so forth, and, if you just swap the arms around, he looks, and turn things around and transform a specific way, he looks very, much more like his prime iteration, or prime esque. So we'll see how that works out in the end. But his accessories, he's got the gun and this thing, which if you take this out, this is actually, if you take this, there's a little notch you can get your fingernail in. Hopefully it works. Yeah, you can unfold this and it becomes a sword, a translucent orange sword. It's kind of neat, or again, amber. The weird thing is he can only hold his left hand because there's this weird like extra tab thing or something on the side of the handle. I'm not sure what that's about. I'm not sure what that's for specifically, but it makes it so he can only hold it in his left hand, which I don't mind personally, but a lot of people get miffed about. Like, you see how you like it when your weapons, you can't hold it in the left hand, the right hand. Yeah, you can hold that. It looks pretty neat, I guess, which is cool. He has a sword, swing that around. So you can do that, or do a really cool thing, which is, fold that back up and plug this back into the gun here, because it just helps fill things out. And this is a mini gun. You can see there, the bunch of, gun barrels right there. And this has take this handle right here. This folds out right there, this handle, and you rotate that around. It's on a ball joint, which really helps. And you take this and you could go ahead and plug this in the bottom of the hand, like so. And then using a whole bunch of the articulation, plug this part into his left hand. Again, if it will go in. Of course, I have no problem before. Now, of course, now on camera, she doesn't want to plug it. There we go. Plug that in. Plug that in, and yeah, he can wield a minigun, which I just really think is just pretty cool. Just a minigun. Just why not? That's just cool. And of course, if you don't want him holding that, you can also just, store this away. If it's let's see, there's a couple places you can, you can just peg it back here like that if you want, or it kind of makes him a little more back heavy, unfortunately, because he's already kind of back heavy, and he has no real heel support. So yeah, it kind of makes him more back heavy. But you can plug that, in a couple of the ports back there if you want. Go ahead and put him outside, because we're going to go ahead and talk about articulation. His head there is on a ball joint thing, so you got left and right and up and down, lots of up actually, and you get a little tiny bit of wiggle. Yeah, it's a ball joint, but yeah. Top of that, this right here in this slider, it's kind of sometimes rotates, and you can slide it forward and back too, so you can adjust that if you want. These get out of the way because they're on multiple hinges. You can get out of the way, but yeah, you have shoulders. You do have full 360. You do have outward. It's supposed to be ratchet. This one's weird because you hear this. It's just kind of squeaky, and this one, it's kind of squeaky too. But yeah, things are going on here. And also on top of that, because transformation, you got extreme butterfly joint, which is again helpful for the minigun. You do have a very, very tight bicep swivel. So you got that going on. Double jointed elbows, which are neat. Also, the elbows, that's the other weird thing, is they're kind of asymmetrical, which is interesting. You can see that the molding is asymmetrical. So I'm not sure what that's about, but other than, well, it's actually because of the tabbing together for the alt mode for transformation. But yeah, he does have a double jointed elbow, but he only has so much range because of the shape of his arms. He does have wrist swivels, which is nice. Those are wrist swivels. They're nice and they work really well. He does have a waist swivel as well, which is nice. And if you're willing to untransform him, he does have an ab crunch. If you're willing to untransform him, but he does have an ab crunch, which is pretty cool in his own right. Only you just have to then, well, the only thing is this all becomes a little looser and it's a little difficult to get that all to tab back in nicely sometimes. Hips, this is where the weird part is on mine. Also because these you have, up and out and back and all sorts of stuff there. But anyway, the hips are the weird part on mine because I'm just not sure how common this is, but okay. There's a soft ratchet forward and back. That's no big deal. Nice range there. That's actually not a problem, except the stopping points are weird. So it's kind of hard to tell because if you look at his, like having him standing like this, you kind of have to have him standing a specific way for him to stand nicely. He will eventually, but yeah, it's kind of, you have to do some weird stuff. But like you can see, it's an angle. His waist is actually at an angle. So it's kind of weird, but yeah, outward, again, clicky ratchets right there. But their kisses. This is where they kind of stop, and well, clicking any further, yeah. Now you got this weird thing going on where, yeah, he's pretty much gonna always have a wider stance. Unfortunately, you can't really get unless you try to get between the ratchets, which is difficult. In these ones, apparently, you can't really get a stock still. So there you go. You do have a thigh swivel though, which is pretty nice. Nice smooth one, got a lot of range. Knees are double jointed technically, although kind of weird, but you can, if you move them right, you can get a pretty deep curl, which is nice on that. Although the lower one's a little looser, and again, you kind of have to, you can't really fully move this leg forward. You kind of have to bend it a little bit to get him to stand right. And down here at the feet, he does have ankle tilt, but it's weird because right here it'll go, but then, well, you pop that out. It'll pop out the landing gear a little bit, and then he'll stay. But when the landing is fully engaged, it's like, it just kind of wants to pop itself back, but it'll hold. So, it's okay if that's out a little bit. I don't mind that so much, but just be aware that you're going to have the landing gear a little out in order for it to actually function fully. Otherwise, it wants to push itself back. And you also have downward toe joint. And this weird thing with the heel. Again, you can see there's not really, I wish this kind of, there's something here because this is on a hinge right here. The thruster's on a hinge. I don't know why. It doesn't help with the heel at all. In fact, because it makes things worse. I wish this like somehow, I thought this was like, for a second, I thought maybe this like folded out or something. Because yeah, it folds, but this is the way. I thought this maybe folds out in such a way to become better heel, but it doesn't. Not really. They said the problem is you can do this, and that will make it much better heel overall, except this is also kind of loose. And this is also now in the way of this thing. So it's like, what's that about? It feels like, again, there's something like with this guy. It's almost like he was once going through some very like extreme last second changes all the way up to like release or something. I don't know. It might be the case. So, yeah. He'll stand. Again, I got him standing pretty fine, but for a while he's just constantly just whoop right backwards because he's got a fairly, sizable backpack. Anyway, comparisons real quick. First off, some other Prime Universe characters. How about RC? The deluxe RC from Legacy. Right there. And this is the Wreck and Rule bulkhead because I got rid of the other one. Yeah, the Wreck and Rule bulkhead right here. Yeah. Again, fairly large comparatively. He is a leader. He's like actually good solid size leader. This is the Voyager, so there's actually size difference there. For the sake of it, here's just, Earthrise Optimus, just to give you an idea. Again, good size. Oh, yeah. Needle nose, because why not? Because if he's going to be remolded into a Predator jet, might as well just, do that now. Got him here anyway. And finally, here is, again, King Atlas, because I don't have original Skyquake. Most Americans don't. Bit of a size difference, but, well, posability. This guy can pose pretty darn well, and as a minigun, this guy can, that's it. Nice ratchet, though. Nice ratchet, but yeah, that's pretty much the extent of what he can do. Missing a lot of pieces, too, but yeah, it's, size difference, but yeah, engineering is way cooler on this one. So, Skyquake. I kind of was really over the moon for him, but, kind of cool a little bit. But, okay, so I think overall, it's actually a really cool leader. His biggest problem is just simply his instructions are bad. That's his biggest problem. I hope I showed you the best way to handle that. Again, you don't have to modify. There's a lot of people going out around talking about how you have to modify the figure. You really don't. But the instructions will lead you astray and lead to a very loose and wobbly robot mode. And that's the biggest problem. Is it's not a bad figure. It's got bad instructions, which can lead you to erroneously thinking it's a badly made figure. It actually locks together really solidly if you do it, the way I did it. It's all real solid and works securely. But I think the transformation is actually really clever overall. Just, again, the instructions are bad. But when you actually know the actual transformation, it's actually really clever. I think that the jet mode's pretty good looking, maybe a little, bulky looking, but it's a Prime Universe jet. It's looking a little bulky is fine to me. I really genuinely like how the robot mode looks. I have fun transforming it personally, but I know a lot of people were kind of frustrated with it. But the minigun's pretty cool. I think the minigun's really cool. The hip ratchets are just weirdly spaced, and I don't like that much. And this heel support could be, better, and his ankles are just not so great. But it's weird because I don't know. Despite those problems, I still think he's overall a really solid figure. And it's one of those things where you might consider, if you saw these problems, the hips are, the hip ratchets being weirdly spaced might be a problem for you. The ankles just not wanting to, tilt very nicely might be a problem for you. I don't know. It's one of those things you kind of have to, look at it for what it is. He has actually really good posability overall, and I think he's just for the most part, somewhat well engineered. Just kind of there's some muddiness going on with, I don't know what the heck happened. Like it feels like designs were being changed all the way to the last second. So I don't know. I like it, but I can understand why a lot of people might be put off by it. But also, we're kind of getting a blue. Was that Dreadwing? Yeah, it's been a bit since I watched Prime. But yeah, I think it was Dreadwing, or was it Dreadwind? I don't remember now. Yeah, and the Prime show is blue, so they're probably going to remold it. So that might be interesting for some people. So we'll see about that one. But I think he's worth it. He's, I think, one of the really solid leader. He's one that definitely kind of shows what you can do, what Hasbro can still do with the leader class. It's just kind of be a little weird sometimes. So I think it's great and should be picked up, but I can understand why you might kind of be put off by it for various reasons. So there you go. Yay. Yes. I'm trying to articulate my thoughts here, just like, because I can understand why some people are put off by it, but I can also be like, please don't write this off because of the bad instructions. Please don't. The bad instructions are bad. It's not the figure, it's the instructions. I think if you're able to get past the bad instructions, it's actually kind of a really cool looking robot that works really well underneath. So yeah, I guess that's it for my review. So I hope you found it informative and entertaining. I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Twitter. I'm at Nemesis Prime 1. Check out my co-host.org/Nemesis-Prime. Check out my Coffee Man Patreon. I shall see you next time with another video review.